Back from the past, into the present. Hello. It's been a while since I actually made a video that's not a channel update, and this is the first episode for a new series that's similar to underrated games. This is a deeper look. Some will say that this series is kind of the opposite of underrated games, as in it as in this will explain the negatives of a game that may make those reviews that you see online giving it praise, critical acclaim specifically, something to kind of just not really take for granted. And so here I will go with um, I guess starting this episode. So the reason why I'll say that this game I can't really say it's an excellent game or a masterpiece is because um and also to inform this review these episodes sort of review series are there for those who already watched all the reviews. Not really all of them, but like enough to get um, the idea of how good the game is and what the game is, and it's just me just explaining a couple negatives that I don't think other people, not from what I've heard, um, explain. So first, I'll start with that. Um, in the first dungeon or houses, as they would say, as the game would say, excuse me. uh, it was so of course, you can't save in the dungeon. You have to save in what would be called a safe house or safe place. I forget the name of it, kind of, where you can actually save the game. And there was no safe house um, in between the journey from the last safe house I was in to the next one I'm going to save the game, and people are going to ask why there should be a safe house in between is because the enemies there are hard. Um, like you would know which ones are like harder for you to face, like that are at a higher level than your party members, and that was the problem that I had, and I died, lost, fainted, like several times trying to get to the next safe place, and I got lucky, and I had a save on multiple files, which I rarely do on video games. And this was the case, I think, with the in the middle of the palace before the final one, the actual well, I can't really exactly say final. I'll say the last, what seems to be the final one, um, or I'll just say the last, the palace before the final one. Yeah, I'll just say it like that. That problem also occurred there. Thankfully, um, it wasn't as annoying, but at the same time, it was still a problem. And And so, and that was also kind of the case with, and that's the last thing I'll say about this is that also happened in the first, I would say, third of the final dungeon, which is not good. So if they're gonna implement this system in the next Persona installment, um, where you can only save in safe places and you can't save in the dungeons themselves, they need to implement the layout better. So it's less annoying to traverse through dungeons. Another thing that's kind of a negative that kind of prevents us from being an excellent game is um, kind of the fact that the game doesn't tell you or give you, well, I would say give you hints of certain elements in the game um, that might be needed to um, to beat the game, at least beat the main story part of it, like all of the main story part of it. Like the one, like a place that can help deepen relationships, because in the game there's a point where you cannot strengthen the or deepen enough the relationships with one of the not one of confidence, all the confidence, and that, I mean, personally, I haven't tried actually like uh, doing one of the I guess hangouts, as they would say, um, to deepen the relationships. Usually, I just do that when I'm given a notification that that it will deepen to the next rank. So that's kind of the problem that I have there, and that's, I think, about it. Oh yeah, another thing too about like conserving SP, which I think is pretty important. Actually, hold on a sec. Got an interruption. Sorry for the interruption. Hopefully, it doesn't happen again in future videos. As I was saying, yeah, there's a confident that would give you items that would um, restore your party members' SP. And in a game, it's important to conserve SP because they're used for, well, I don't know why I should be saying this, but they're used for skills that you are going to usually use to defeat enemies in the game. And so about that part with um, the game not telling you or giving you a hint about that, that kind of, that's one of the main problems with the game well that does hold it back. Um, and the last thing I'll say for the negatives for this game would be conserving SP for me has kind of been difficult, and even if I wasn't really necessarily wasting SP, um, like I would still run out. Um, like even when I'm like not near the safe house or safe place, and that's so. I mean, I guess you could tell that is part of that is like the SP, like conserving SP is like definitely one of the main um, issues with all these problems that I think I've discussed so far, except for maybe the other one with the game not telling you um, certain elements that um, that I think will be important to completing the main story part of the game. And so guess that's about it. So and I said I was a final one. Actually, no. There's I think one more that I will say with the game that I had an issue with, which was one of the bosses had multiple forms and they were all competently powerful, and you just couldn't like you couldn't restore like your party's HP and SP are not restored after each fight, and that to me was kind of unfair. And I barely won that fight. And I don't even know if I want to face that fight again. That's why I'm kind of. That's one of the reasons why I kind of don't want to do a new game plus in this game, because it's like because of that boss fight and how I'm probably gonna lose like I don't know how many times. So yeah, that's about it. I think. I hope I explain all the negatives with the game, which hold it back from being an excellent game. In my books, at least. Um, and so, I mean, guess that's yeah, that's about it. Um, really. I think I might not. I think I might have another episode of this, maybe soon, about a certain game that also came out last year, and that one might actually be shorter because there's just only one problem I think that I found, um, and I think that's about it. So, uh, as I always say, see me in the future. Um, sorry. Before actually, one thing. Yes, this video is in a weekday. I don't know if I notified if like I said that I'll make an announcement in a video that I'll be making videos in weekdays. But there's occasionally going to be some episodes where I'm gonna just post um, not episodes, videos where I will just post them in the weekdays randomly. I would say randomly, unexpectedly. So keep that in mind. That won't happen a lot. It's only going to happen probably once, twice, however many times. So that's about it. And as I will say, see me in the future.